My name is Elizabeth Pittelkow. I am a Senior Accounting Manager at Aerostream Incorporated in Chicago, Illinois. We as internal auditors can miss fraud because we might be looking in the wrong places. When management tells us a story about transactions, we tend to corroborate what management tells us instead of looking for evidence to disprove what management has said. Psychologically, we feel better when we find evidence to support instead of evidence to contradict. We need to be aware of that psychological bias and have people questioning our own assumptions. As an auditor, we are charged with the ability to exercise professional skepticism, and we need to have our auditor colleagues consistently question our own assumptions so that we can identify where issues are, where we have misidentified risks or not identified the right risks. People do not set out to commit fraud. It takes a lot of time and education and experience to rise to levels of leadership within corporations. People generally will commit fraud once they have psychological pressures that are upon them. We need to identify what the psychological pressures are that are facing decision makers and management of our companies. Fraudsters look a lot like our regular leaders in companies. They're generally well-liked, they're loyal to their firms, and they're persuasive. We need to understand what differentiates fraudsters from leaders, and we need to get at the root cause as to what psychological pressures are influencing fraudsters. When people commit fraud, we tend to put them in a bucket, dislike ourselves. We don't want to think that we have similar characteristics to people that commit fraud. We need to keep in mind that everyone is ethical until they are not. We need to design procedures to identify what types of situations people can be in that will lead them to unethical decision making. Auditors can work with management and other key decision makers in companies to promote an ethical culture. They should have their vision, their mission, and their values posted, and they should promote conversations among colleagues so that people understand that ethics and integrity are important, not only to the company, but into the internal audit function and to how the overall business world works. Research has shown that people make decisions differently if they're in a business context versus an ethical context. But people that make business decisions tend to rationalize more. They think about how will this decision affect the future and how will it affect a personal or company gain. Ethical decision making thinks more about relationships and how people are affected. Is the decision fair? Will it hurt anyone in the process? And as auditors, we should think about bringing the ethical framework back to business decision making. I, as an internal auditor, would explain to someone that I protect the risk and the strategy of the company and make sure that people are equipped with the right decision making ability, that they think about ethics at the forefront, and they understand that we are here to help them to understand the regulatory environment and the environment in which we operate from a marketplace perspective, and we're here to help. A lot of people think about internal auditors as the bad guys and that they don't want to have them in their office space, they don't want to be interviewed by them. It's a very scary experience. And as an internal auditor, I try to tell them that I'm on their side and I'm here to protect them and to protect the overall company.